Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I'm here with my reading plans for the Leading Ladies Readathon and for the Romance Readathon, or Romance Takeover Readathon. So the Leading Ladies Readathon is a readathon that I am co-hosting along with Taylor from Page Screen Taylor and Mary Margaret from MM's Musings. I will link both of them down below, as well as our announcements and the Twitter account and all of that. We're super excited. This is round one of a readathon that is based on classic Hollywood actresses, and round one is going to be about Audrey Hepburn. It is running from November 20th through 30th, and then at the end of the video I'm also going to talk about the books that I plan to read for the Romance Takeover Readathon, which is from November 29th through December 11th. And again, if you want more details on the Leading Ladies challenges and everything, check out our Twitter. We have the prompt cards posted, or you can also view our announcement videos where we go into a little more detail. I'm just going to be going over the books I plan to read for the different prompts. So we have 3 life challenges for Audrey Hepburn, and the first one is based on the fact that Audrey Hepburn performed silent dance shows to raise money for the Dutch resistance, and that was when she was living as a young girl in the Netherlands, which at the time were occupied by the Nazis. And the prompt is to read a book with a strong female character whose strength is not physical. And for that one I have The Language of Fire, Joan of Arc Reimagined by Stephanie Hemphill. This is a novel in verse about Saint Joan of Arc, and I have read one other book like that I really liked, and I am really excited for this one. I've been meaning to get to this for a while. And Joan of Arc is definitely somebody who, she was not very physically strong. Her strength was a lot more about her character and her convictions, and she was definitely a brilliant leader, but it wasn't so much the physical soldier aspect that made her such a strong and inspiring person. So really excited to get to this. The second life challenge is based on the fact that Audrey was a fashion icon throughout her career and was especially fond of Hubert de Givenchy's designs, and that is to read a book by a favorite author or an author you love. And for that one I have chosen Julie Berry, and I hope to read Scandalous Sisterhood of Prickwillow Place. I believe I got this as a Christmas present from my mom last year, I think. So it's about time I read it. I've been excited about this for a while. I absolutely adored Lovely War by Julie Berry, so I pretty much want to read everything else that she has written, so really excited about this. This is a middle grade mystery set at a girls' school. I think the headmistress and her brother drop dead at dinner, and the girls don't want to have to get sent back home. I don't think they have great family lives or home lives, so they conceal this, and they're trying to keep the adults from realizing that they have no guardian anymore as they solve the murder and find out who actually did this. So I think that'll be really interesting. And the third and final life challenge is the one that we strongly encourage all participants to complete. This readathon is overall very casual. Like, just pick the challenges that interest you. You can stack prompts however you want, but we do encourage you to participate in this challenge especially. And that is, in her later years, Audrey Hepburn became very active in social causes current to her time. In honor of our current time, Native American Heritage Month, read a book by an Indigenous author. They don't have to be an author from the US. And I picked a book from my Indigiton TBR, and that is Alatsawe by Darcy Little Badger. As you can see, I have started this one. I actually just started it today and I'm only a couple chapters in, but I'm really liking it so far. This book is set in kind of an alternate United States where there are ghosts and I believe creatures or beings from Native American folklore, and our main character is Alatsawe, and her brother, or her cousin I mean, is murdered. And so the book is about catching the person who did this to him. Alatsawe is also asexual, which is really exciting that we don't see a lot of characters on the ace spectrum, and I don't think we see many Native American characters who are either. So that's really exciting. So definitely want to finish this one. If I have already finished it by the time of the readathon, I will of course pick a different book. But like I said, only a couple chapters in, but really enjoying this so far. Then moving into the movie challenges, I have a bunch of books pulled for this that I'm just going to kind of pick from. I'm going to try not to stress too much about which ones I end up completing, but I do have a book, at least one book for every prompt, and I'll just kind of pick up whatever I'm in the mood for. So for Roman Holiday, the prompt is to read a book you think will give you a lot of feelings, and for that one I have The Girl and the Ghost by Hannah Alcoff. This is a middle grade novel that draws very strongly on Malaysian folklore, culture, and beliefs, and my friend Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book, she just read this and loved it. She said the writing is beautiful and it made her cry. So very excited about that. I'm ready to sob, you know? And I read the first chapter, or like the prologue, and the writing is really beautiful. I read Hannah Alcoff's story in Once Upon a Need and adored it. Like, it was one of my favorites. I fell in love with her writing and her storytelling, so really looking forward to getting to this one. And I know this book is going to deal with a lot about grief. It's about a friendship between this ghost and this little girl, and I just feel like this is going to be really wonderful. I feel like this could be possibly a favorite of the year for me. I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna love it. The prompt for Sabrina is to read a book you think will have some serious character development, and I'm actually choosing a book I've read before, so I know that it's about character development, or at least it's like a coming of age story, and that is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This is a very hated book, or it's very polarizing. I know some people really like it, like I actually really liked it, and a lot of people hate this book, and hate Holden Caulfield. And I've been scared to pick this up again. Like I read this in high school and it was one of the only books we read in high school that I actually enjoyed. And I have not picked it up again. I've been really scared to because I know so many people despise this book and I'm like, what if I hate it this time? So I don't know, but I am gonna see if I still like this. One of the things I remember about this book is there are some scenes in particular that are just so clear in my head, like the one where he's talking to a nun in a bar about Mercutio from Romeo and Juliet, and the end scene with a carnival and his little sister riding a carousel in the rain. And I don't know, like there are just certain scenes of this book that give me a very, very specific feeling that I really enjoyed. And I know Holden can be a very frustrating main character, but when I read this in high school, I kind of like appreciated that about him. I don't know, like I saw parts of myself in him, I think. So yeah, this could go either way, but I am really hoping I still enjoy this one, and this is definitely a very like character focused book. I don't remember how much of it is actually like him changing as a character, but as a coming of age story, I feel like it could count for this prompt, so we'll see. The prompt for War and Peace is to read a book that is international for you, so that can mean a book that is translated or a book where the author or setting is from a different country than yours, etc. And for that one, I have The Memory of Babel. This is the third book in the Mere Visitor series by Christelle Dabot, translated by Hildegard Searle. I received this copy in exchange for an honest review from Europa Editions, so thank you so much. I actually have spoiler-free reviews for the first two books. I will link those down below. But I have been really enjoying this series. I am really excited to get to this third book. Lots of things happened at the end of the second one, so I'm nervous, but looking forward to it. Also, I think this color green is very pretty. The prompt for Breakfast at Tiffany's is to read a book that features the friends to lovers trope, and for this one, I'm like kind of guessing a little bit. I am currently buddy reading the Infernal Devices trilogy with my friend Hannah from Snow White Reader. This is the first book, Clockwork Angel, which I am currently on, and there's like a very well-known love triangle situation in these books, and I think one of the relationships in the love triangle is more of a like friends to lover situation, I think. If not, I'll have to find another book for this prompt if I want to complete this prompt, but yeah, I'm gonna count this one for it. Like I said, currently reading it, and I'm liking it so far. I was a little hesitant because I've heard, like, Cassandra Clare is an author that people have very strong opinions on in either direction, and I had never read anything from her, but so far I'm like pretty pleasantly surprised by this, I think. The prompt for the Children's Hour is to read a book featuring a female-female romance, and for that one I have one that has been all over the bookternet, and that is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This is a contemporary about our main character, who is a girl named Liz, and she finds out early on in the book that her scholarship money fell through for the school that she really wants to go to, but she finds out that there's like a local scholarship for the girl who wins prom queen, because that's a very big deal in her small town, so she decides to run for prom queen, but she develops a relationship and feelings for another girl who is running. I've just heard this is like really, really heartwarming and lovely and so cute. Then for My Fair Lady, the prompt is to read a book featuring music or theater in some way, and I have a play that I want to read, and that is Cyrano de Bergerac by Emin Rostan, translated and adapted by Kate Hennig. I am so looking forward to this. I have read the Emin Rostan version, the translation by Brian Hooker, which I absolutely adored. It's one of my favorite plays, and I have not read anything from Kate Hennig, but I've heard great things about her. My friend Julia says that I will love her, and I think that she's right. So when I found out that she did an adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac, I was like, well, I have to try this. The prompt for How to Steal a Million is to steal a prompt from another readathon with credit. Make sure you credit the creators of the readathon, or steal a book from somebody else's TBR. And for this one, so I have like multiple options for this prompt. And basically the theme for this prompt is readathons that I planned to participate in, and then it just didn't end up happening. So first I'm going to talk about the books I have for Believeathon, which was created by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. This is a middle grade themed readathon that I love participating in, and I was planning to do the round this month, and it just didn't end up happening. I have read very little in the first couple of weeks in November because of just everything. But I do really want to participate, and I picked a couple of prompts. One of them is The Hand Mirror, which is to read a book with a beautiful cover. And if you read from a specific author, you could get bonus points. I'm not doing the points version, but I did pick a book from that author. And likewise with the other prompt, which is The Chain, that is to read a book that features a colorful cast of characters. And again, there's a featured author who I picked a book from. So for The Hand Mirror, the beautiful cover one, that is Sophie Anderson. And I went to read The House with Chicken Legs. I'm so confident I'm going to love her books that I actually own all three of them she's come out with so far. But I haven't read any, which is ridiculous. Also, I'm really sad that this is not a sticker you can peel off. It's just like on the book, which bothers me. But this is a story about a girl who, I think she lives with Baba Yaga. Her grandmother is Baba Yaga, who guides spirits between this world and the next. And I don't really know what like the premise of the story is outside of that, but I feel like this is going to be just really lovely and atmospheric and probably heartwarming because I think it deals with friendship and family as well. So I am really excited about that. Then for the colorful cast of characters, the featured author was Anna James, who wrote the Pages & Co. series. The first book is The Book Wanderers, and I read the first chapter a few weeks ago and I really loved it. I've been meaning to read this series for ages and I just know that I'm going to really enjoy it. And this follows our main character, Anna, I think? No, the author's name is Anna. Our main character is a girl named Tilly, sorry. And her grandparents, she lives with her grandparents and they have a bookshop, and Tilly finds out that she can, I think she can like bring characters out of books or something like that. So I am really excited about this. I think this is going to be really cozy and lovely about friendship and about the power of stories, and I just think this is going to be, like I said, just the coziest thing. Then the other readathon that I have been meaning to participate in, and I just never got around to filming a TBR because there was a bunch of other things that I had to film and post before that, but that is the Fall into Reading readathon, which was for the whole season of fall, and I'm only telling you about it in November. That is from September 1st through November 30th, even though that's not like the official dates for fall. This is hosted by Kelly at Cozy Reader Kelly, Tia at Tia and All the Books, Rainy at Rainy Day Reads, and Angie at Literary Labors. I will link all of them down below. Again, I'm so sorry. I meant to like post a whole TBR for this, but it's like very late in the readathon, so I'm just going to talk about a couple of prompts and books that I definitely want to read. I chose the big bingo board, and I've actually read almost all of the books that I had planned to read for this. I just like haven't been telling you what prompts they're for. But one of them I want to read is Calamity Jack by Shannon and Dean Hale, illustrated by Nathan Hale. This is a graphic novel, and I'm counting it for the prompt of graphic novel and also for sequel. I really loved the first graphic novel. This is a Rapunzel retelling. I've heard that this second volume is not quite as good as the first one, but I'm still really looking forward to getting to it. And then the other book I want to talk about is The Forest of Stars by Heather Kastner. I've talked about this for several like fall oriented videos or TBRs, and I still haven't read it, but I feel like I'm gonna love it, so I just need to like actually read it. And I'm counting this for, let's see, for the prompts of orange, yellow, or gold cover, and also for a fantasy. I talked a little bit more about the premise of this in, I think it was a different TBR I did maybe. So I won't go into too much detail here, but I really enjoyed The Bone Garden by Heather Kastner, and I've been really excited about her other work. This is her second release, which just came out, I think, a few months ago. How long has it been? I don't know. But I've been meaning to read this for a while, so really excited about that. So the next Leading Ladies prompt is for Robin and Marian. That is to read a retelling. I could definitely count Calamity Jack for that, but I also really want to read, let's see, sorry, there's like something on the cover here. I really want to read Hood by Jenny Elder Moak. This is a Robin Hood retelling, and we follow Robin Hood's daughter, I believe. And I've been really excited about this since basically I found out about it. I have discovered recently I'm really into Robin Hood retellings, so I am excited about this one. Then for Wait Until Dark, that prompt is to read something outside of your usual genres. And if you're like me and you read very widely, just pick something from a genre that is not like one of your top read or top favorite. And for that one, I have This Is Our Story by Ashley Elston. And this is a like thriller mystery, I think. So even though I mentioned a middle grade mystery earlier, in general, I don't read a ton of mysteries, especially ones that are more like, I guess like dark or thriller-esque. I don't know. This is not really a thriller. I don't know what I'm talking about, but like to me this feels different than the Julie Berry one that I talked about earlier. So this is about a group of kids who, I think they're like going into the woods on a hunting trip. One of the boys dies, and I think our main character is a girl who, she's interning at the district attorney's office, and somehow she gets wrapped up in this case and figuring out what happened. I know that Kristen from Super Space Chick really loves this author, and I've been like really intrigued about this one. This feels like a very fall and winter appropriate kind of atmospheric mystery book, so I'm gonna try and read that this time. This actually, like how long is this? This is only like 300 pages, so this will probably go pretty quick, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. Also, Wait Until Dark is a like thriller mystery movie, so I thought it'd also be kind of cool if I had like picked that genre for the book that I want to read for that. And then finally, the last movie prompt is Paris When It Sizzles. That is to read a lighthearted book. And I have several that I could talk about for this one that I plan to read. I could also throw in some like Georgette Heyer. Those tend to be kind of fun and lighthearted and cozy, and I've been really in the mood to read some of her books, so maybe I'll do that as well. So those are all of the options I have for the Leading Ladies Readathon. Like I said, I don't want to stress myself out about getting to all of those, but I wanted to have plenty of options to pick from. I'm really excited. Okay, so now talking about the books I hope to read for the Romance Takeover Readathon. It has several hosts, but I first heard about it from Bethany at Beautifully Bookish Bethany and Nicole at Who Picked This Book. I will link all of the host information down below. And I also want to mention, which Bethany did in her announcement video, that while we're on the subject of like the romance genre, if you guys haven't checked out Romancing the Runoff, I will put that information in the description as well. Basically, a bunch of romance authors got together and they're all donating things to an auction to raise money for the Georgia Senate runoff races that are happening in January, which are really important for the future of our country. I don't think they're accepting like items for donation anymore, but you can still donate through them to Fair Fight and to the other groups that they are supporting who are doing work on the ground in Georgia. Supporting work that is already happening on the ground there is like the most important way that you can help if you don't live in Georgia. I will also put some resources about like registering to vote for the runoff elections if you do live in Georgia. But yeah, so I think submissions are closed, but you can definitely bid on items, and you can also still donate through their fund as well. So I think that is a really wonderful thing that is happening, so be sure to check that out. And then the Romance Takeover Readathon is like a build your own bingo board kind of thing, which is what I did. It's not very fancy, but I will show that to you if you would like to see it. So there's a bunch of prompts that are listed that you can pick through to like build your own bingo board. So I'm gonna go through the prompts that I have chosen. The first one is post a TBR, which I am obviously doing right now. Another one is read after midnight. I quite frequently read after midnight, so that won't be a problem. And then the actual book prompts that I have, I'm gonna talk about right now. I think I'm gonna go by book rather than by prompt, so I can talk about the ones that I have that are counting for multiple prompts. So the first book I want to mention is Isabel and Alexander by Rebecca Anderson, and that one I very kindly was accepted to read an advanced copy from Shadow Mountain Publishing, so thank you so much to them. I'm really excited to be getting to this one. We follow our main characters, who are Isabel and Alexander, of course, and I think what's happened is they are in an arranged marriage, which they both agree to, but neither of them like loves the other person, but they did consent to go through with it, but they still don't really know each other. And Isabel is feeling like she would like to get to know her husband better, but she doesn't really know how, so they end up going to a more like country estate where Isabel hopes that they will actually get to know each other and spend time together and become friends, if nothing else. And then there's a terrible accident, and I believe Alexander becomes paralyzed, so Isabel ends up taking care of them, and of course they end up spending a lot more time together and getting to know each other. And this book is about their developing relationship. And after reading House of Gold by Natasha Solomons a couple months ago, I've realized that that's a trope that I'm really interested in, is characters who are who agreed to go through with a like marriage of convenience type thing, but who don't really know each other, and then seeing them start to develop feelings for each other. I apparently really like that trope, so I'm excited to see how that is done here. When I read early reviews, I don't remember seeing anything about the disability representation in particular, so I'm really hoping that that is done well. But the premise of this one I'm really looking forward to, so excited to get to that book. And that one is kind of for a recent release and also a historical romance. And another book that I really want to read is The Suffragette Scandal by Courtney Milan. I'm counting this for the diverse book recommendation and also for the host recommendation, because Bethany has recommended this on her channel and it sounds wonderful. I'm also counting this for the diverse romance prompt because Courtney Milan is Chinese American, and I've never read anything from her. I've heard amazing things about her books. I know that she's very well loved in the romance reading community, so I'm excited to get to this one, and especially excited that it involves the women's suffrage movement. That sounds great. I don't really know anything else about the premise, but I'm excited. And I'm also doubling up and reading Cyrano de Bergerac for the prompt of a 5-star prediction and a cinnamon roll hero. So I know this is a little different because this is not like the same kind of romance genre as the other books that I've talked about. By the way, Isabel and Alexander is, I believe, in the proper romance line, so that one is not going to have any explicit scenes if that's something that you're into. But Cyrano de Bergerac is a romance play, but again, it's not like quite in the same genre, but I'm gonna say it counts. This is definitely a 5-star prediction. I gave the other version of the play 5 stars, and it's one of the only, it's either the only or one of the only times I have read a play and it has made me cry. Because I'm definitely like a crier in general. I cry when I watch plays and I cry when I read books, but I don't generally cry when I read plays. And that was an exception. So that's like an example of how emotionally effective that play was. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this version of it. Like I said, it is a 5-star prediction for me. And I'm counting it for cinnamon roll hero because arguably I think Cyrano and Christian could both be considered cinnamon rolls. Even though Cyrano is like kind of more abrasive to other people because he's very understandably defensive about the way people treat him. With Roxanne, he's definitely a cinnamon roll, and Christian I think is definitely just like a sweet character overall. So I'm going to count it for those. I know this is like kind of different. Then for a book I've had on my TBR for 6 months or more, I have Heart of the Fae by Emma Hamm. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that is inspired by Celtic folklore and mythology. Our main character is a healer, and I think she gets sent to stay with the Beast character, and of course it's about them falling in love. So this is a fantasy romance, and actually my friend Taylor from Page Screen Taylor, she gifted this to me for my birthday this year, which was so kind of her, and I have been excited to get to this for a while, so this is the perfect opportunity. And then I also threw another option on this list, which would also count for the diverse romance prompt, and probably for a couple others. Like I actually might have had this book on my TBR for more than 6 months, even though I haven't owned it for more than 6 months. I actually just bought this one, so even though if I read those other books I still will like fulfill the prompts, I also just really want to read this book, so I might pick this one during the readathon as well. And that is Sophia Khan is Not Obliged by Aisha Malik. This is on Voices for the Muslim Representation, and I don't know too much about the story of this one except Sophia Khan, she is the main character, and I think she gets assigned a like newspaper story or magazine story on the world of Muslim dating, and I think it's about the romance that ensues from there. I've heard this is very funny, that it deals with some important topics like racism and Islamophobia, but it's also a really cute and funny romance as well. And from the reviews I was reading, it seems like Own Voices reviewers say that the Muslim representation is done really, really well, which is encouraging. So I'm looking forward to getting to this one. I'm interested to see how the Muslim dating aspect is handled, because I know that it's something that is handled very differently in different Muslim communities or just different individuals. But yeah, like I said, I'm encouraged by the fact that the Own Voices reviews seem to be very positive on the representation aspect, and I'm looking forward to getting to this one. So I might pick up this for the readathon as well. Okay, everybody, so those are a bunch of books, I know, and we only have a couple weeks left in the month. But like I said, I wanted to have some options to pick from, which I definitely do. And I'm really looking forward to all of these. So like pretty much whatever I pick up from this pile, I'm going to be very excited about. So please let me know if you guys are participating in either of these readathons and a book that you're looking forward to picking up. If you're participating in Leading Ladies, let me know if you're going to watch any Audrey Hepburn movies during the readathon as well. I know I definitely will use it as an excuse to rewatch some of my favorites or watch some that I haven't seen before, because not all of the movies on our prompt list are ones that I have personally seen, so this is a good opportunity for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!